Hey everyone, we have our first multimillionaire expert of Tuesday on the show today, and we have Matt. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing great, Mike.
Thank you for being our newest expert. I really enjoy these conversations, and
Been a
we're
blast.
we're going to start with, are you excited? Are you nervous about 2021? I know you've looked at it. I know you have kind of at least an internal sketch of what do you want to get done, but where do you sit now? Are you nervous, excited? What's going on for you in 2021?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's all of those things. So I think that, one of the things that having done this as long as we have is that it's really nice to have a plan. It's really nice to have ideas of, kind of broad strokes of what you want to accomplish. But the challenging thing is the market largely dictates a lot of that. And so,
For
for us, it's, if the Fed decides to change course and they raise rates, instantly you're going to see things fall off a cliff.
No
right?
question. Yeah, the market will. Well, let's be clear. It wouldn't fall off a cliff value-wise because prices
No.
are sticky on the way down. It would be
Purchase price.
transactions first.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
and
Purchase and refi.
yeah, purchase and refi would freeze up,
That's right.
ultimately causing prices to fall.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, the pricing falling comes later down the path.
Correct.
But again, I mean, we just, we need to be honest about the economy that we're in. And the economy that we're in is right now, the issue with 2020 and 2021 is, yes, it's an inventory issue. But largely what a lot of folks haven't just sat down and done the math. And quite frankly, the math is very simple. Every 1% drop in the mortgage rate increases the value of a property 10%.
Yep.
That's just the math.
Right.
And so if we're looking at just the math, that's to say, well, the house that you were looking at last year was, in beginning of 2020, that house was 300K. And now that house this year is 330, 335, right around there. The interesting thing is that all of that value derived is only from an interest rate increase. That's it. If your market's gone up 15%, like a lot of markets, I was reading something yesterday, almost 80% of counties in the country have reported a more than 10% increase in values.
Yeah, I saw that as well. And that's the stuff I've been seeing coming. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs because all these other idiots are calling for a 30 or 40% price drop. I mean, you can't get there unless the Fed reverses course and rates double, right? They go
100%.
from 2.5 to 5 or 5.5. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Or we go to 15 or 18% real unemployment or 12% real unemployment, right? Because the thing that I see in a lot of the government plans is, hey, we're counting on builders to keep on building. They can only build so many. They can only build them so fast. And the biggest deterrent there to building is cost.
Yeah.
And, I had a friend of mine, we were speccing out his project. He got a quote in February of last year to basically get what's called a weather tight house. So it's the stick build, it's the exterior, it's the siding, it's the windows, and then everything else inside hasn't been done. And the roof, everything else inside hasn't been done. Okay. His price for that stick build was $132K in February. Okay. He went and he got it requoted in May, June timeframe. It was $167.
Oh, and it's probably 180 today.
Right. And so when we talk about the government,
hold on, let's talk about why that happened. There's two things that are happening. One, we just have supply costs, right? 2x4, 4x4s are up. Even for my simple remodels, right? We go.
Yep.
I mean, just to build a fence, right? Build a fence, it's more expensive, right? Like hundreds of dollars more expensive.
Yeah.
So some of that's a blip because supply chains and the fires that happened in, the West Coast and all of that, but not all of it.
Nope.
I believe the real problem for builders is they lost a lot of skill, right? People in the last crisis who went out and got other jobs, truck drivers and all these other things. And what's happening with builders, yes, they want to build, but actually they're retracting. At least the public companies are. Pulte, Lennar, Toll Brothers. They're like, we think these inflation spikes in 4x4s and all of that is short term.
That's right.
So we are going to slow our builds.
Sure.
I'm like, Jesus. Well, we need more inventory. Now we got less again.
Right. Yeah. And I think, you look at it and it's like a 2 by 10 by 12 pressure treated, which is a pretty normal piece of wood
Mhm.
when building a deck or doing a foundation rim joist or anything like that. All of a sudden, those were 14.50, 14.80, and now they're $30. And you just look at that and you say, well, if you want to build more houses, that's fine. They might, even if they have the labor, that's fine. But those guys are getting more money because they can go to another crew that's really busy, that's going to pay them an extra $3 an hour. And let's face it, that's economy. I love that. I love it when people can use these opportunities for upward movement in their
Mhm.
jobs and get more money for the tasks that they're doing. The only downside to that is, we've got a development of 1,650 square foot homes in our area that's going up, and it's 569.
Wow.
1,650 square feet for 569. I mean, just the real quick math, has you at, 350, 340 a foot. And
That's
that's a
not
plain,
normal.
that's a plain Jane. And that's
Right.
a plain Jane. And here's the thing. I'm not mad at the builders. It's not their fault. It's not like they're making that much more money. They're having to do all the same work. They're having to do all the same activity. In fact, do more because now sourcing is an issue.
Exactly.
And I literally was at a location at a lumber yard, and I was waiting for PT to come in because I had to finish a deck this summer. Literally rolls in the yard. And I said, oh, talk about perfect timing. I'm licking my chops. I'm like, great. I'm going to get stuff right off the truck. This is awesome. And he said, yeah, bad news. I said, what's that? And he goes, that truck's already spoken for.
Yeah,
I
that
said,
truck's done.
I said, I need a few pieces. He goes, it's already all sold. That entire truck is just filling orders that we already have.
Wow. Yeah.
So
So
that's
yeah.
not the builder's fault. That's
No.
a supply chain issue. But there's also only 3 places in the country that actually make pressure treated wood.
Yep.
You want to know how much a shutdown hurts? They were shut down for 2 months.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't gotten over that lack of supply.
Yeah, that
We have-
air pocket is real. Yeah.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and then the other thing, I mean, just to play out 2021 on this topic that really compounds it for me is
Yeah,
I see an infrastructure bill getting done.
probably.
Bridges, highways, you know, stuff.
Yep.
And guess what? Stuff needs stuff. And you think we have a pricing problem now?
Yep.
Oh, and oh, by the way, a labor problem now? Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, this gets scary enough. I mean, freaking inflation will stick up and, smack the Fed, and then we got a real problem.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that, there's a lot of things forming that, low interest rates and low cost of money is attractive
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. But then it's a sugar high, right? And you burn through that sugar high, and then you're left with the mess of what to deal with.
Yeah, and you just need more and more and more to keep it going, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I don't think
that's the concern side of it for me. That's
yeah.
the
So
concern side.
I like you. I don't think so. I don't think I don't think builders, new construction is going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
I believe, and maybe I'm looking too hard, and it happens all the time, right? Because I want to see the glass is half full, not half empty.
Sure.
I get accused of that all the time on my channel. You're too rosy. You're too optimistic. Well, that's just how I roll. You don't like it, don't watch. But I see existing homes coming on the market like never before. I've been watching the consumer for 20 years, and my experience with the consumers is they can contract, save for moments in time, right?
Yep.
We are not historically good at that, right?
Right. Yep. Agreed.
And something that 2020 clearly happened is we contracted, right? We didn't travel. We didn't eat out. We didn't shop. We didn't, everybody wore sweatpants and dress shirts because they were on Zoom calls, right?
Yep. Sure.
So I am thinking that once we get through this April, May, inventory to call it explode might be over exaggerating, but I think only slightly. I think inventory of existing homes could explode. And by explode, let's just put numbers on it. I believe it could double, right? But a double is not all that much in many markets, right? I'm at 1 month supply. Vegas, I talk to Brian Lebo all the time. I forget what it was, like 3,800 homes or something. Again, all-time low. So even if you doubled, you're not even back, you're not even to a seller's, or you're not even to a buyer's market. You might be balanced.
Yeah, and I think that's and I speak with Brian as well. Sharp guy. I'm Vegas is one of the areas that I'm watching.
Yeah.
I missed Vegas last time when I was looking in Vegas in 07. It fell apart in 08, 09.
Right.
The 2-bedroom that I was looking at that I would, potentially put as part of like the hotel or the ho condo thing.
Yeah.
So I was looking at those, but they were $1 million. And I was
Oh.
like, that's just way too much money to put on a flip. And in 08, 09, they went as low as 350.
Yeah. Cause you had
But
to
I
pay
was
cash.
handling my own issues here,
Yeah. I
and
remember.
then now they were back to, in 18 and 19, they were back to $1.2 million. And so the question is that going to happen again, and what that really looks like? So yeah, I think you're right in saying that there can be a whole lot. I think what it really has to be is, quite frankly, if people are able to, it's going to be the best thing that they ever do is sell in April to June of this year.
Yeah.
Not downsize, but pick a different market if you can, rent if you can, and wait out the next, 6 to 24 months, and it's going to pay off for you, I think.
This is interesting. And not that I disagree, but I like how you're playing the chessboard. So you're seeing the opportunity to get out early is what you're calling, right? Get out early.
Or even late at the top.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Could be early, because I think you and I both agree that kind of Q4 of 21 and Q1 of 22, that's when we're going to start to see some of the pain.
Yes, that's when this pain that everybody else is talking about will or should show up, unless the banks do more extend and pretend and just sweep it under the carpet, right?
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah. So when we get back to 2021, I guess I would say I'm 70% positive, 20% negative, and 10% like kind of neutral or whatever. Yep. I am, again, real estate's all I do, right? I don't do stocks. I don't do all this other stuff. Yep. I think we've gotten through what, hopefully, knock on wood, is the hardest year to be a landlord, right? Yeah. Right. I think we've gotten through that. And again, I'm in California, right? Which is not landlord friendly. And I still think we have these freaking Gavin Newsom eviction moratoriums being extended. But longer term, I think being a landlord of single family homes could be the best investment most people make, even in California. I think there's a few more months of pain. But again, I think what's going to happen is people are leaving urban areas. They're going to go to the suburbs. Many of them will stay in California, and Fresno's cheap. So the prices are going to go up, and then rents will follow. And oh, by the way, the rent control in California doesn't touch single family homes. It only touch units. So I think there's,
does that apply to duplexes too?
Yes. Units, any units. Okay. Yeah.
Any units.
Unless you're an owner that's house hacking one, right? It's basically, you can have one, right? So if you're living in the duplex, it doesn't qualify, but if you're not, then yes, it does. Okay. So single families have a unique, goodness going on. And again, there's just no inventory, no building per se. And I think something I'm looking at is the whole build to rent model. Cause I think because again, so many homes are being consumed by owner occupants that I think the rental numbers will drop. And if, as you know, as prices go up, demand's going to go up because less and less people will qualify. So I'm pretty excited about the next decade.
Yeah. I think the rent to own concept, works when you have historically low rates. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't work with a 5% or a 4.5% mortgage.
Well, it's actually not rent to own, just to be clear, build to rent, right?
Build to rent. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm going to basically, if I can't buy it and I can build it.
Yep.
That's where I'm looking. So as we wrap up topic number 1, 2021, what are you doing in your portfolio? You adding, shrinking, changing, 1031ing? What are you doing in your portfolio?
So we are going to, I think we're going to be a net add.
Okay.
We're going to take the opportunity to exit out of a couple of properties that don't necessarily fit our portfolio.
Yeah.
Ones that we looked at and said, this is a good investment. We're going to do it. However, it's not going to be a long-term for us because it doesn't really fit our model.
Okay.
So I think there's going to be a couple of those, a few of those. And then, overall net add. I mean, the challenging thing for me is, and we'll cover this in the next segment, which is just inventory, cost of that inventory and that sort of thing. So we'll kind of cover that in the next segment. But it's the idea is always be ready for a good deal to come across your desk, or to have found one that somebody says, you know what, I don't want to go through the whole process. I need to exit now.
Yeah.
And we want to accommodate that.
Yeah. So I think that's exactly where we are. We'll be net add. I will very likely, I think we're only going to trim one this year. I mean, there's one property that, we just keep looking at it every year. We're like making excuses for it. Oh, it'll do better. It'll do better. It'll do better. Right. And I'm like, honey, I think this is it. We're not going to make any more excuses. Let's clean that one up a little bit and sell it. We'll probably sell it. We'll probably list it in April or May, right? Take advantage of everybody coming back.
Sure.
But other than that, yeah, I think we're adding. Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you for this. This has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mike.
Uh,
Appreciate it.
Yep.